Hi everyone and welcome to The Stew. Today we'll have Nicola S. Morgan on the show.
Yeah! Nicola S. Morgan!
So Nicola, give me the gist of your book.
Okay, well I wrote Quick, Easy, and Effective Behavior Management Ideas for the Classroom. It's a book for teachers to help them manage behavior in the classroom. I organized the book into 10 chapters, and I call them the 10 R's. And the 10 R's are relationships, routines, rules, reinforcement, rewards, responsibility, response, redirection, reprimands, and results.
Wow, that all sounds very exciting.
It is.
After these messages, we will have Mr. Bieber, and he is a new teacher in the system.
Alright, I look forward to it.
And he'll be asking some questions.
Thanks.
After these messages. Hi everyone and welcome back to The Stew. Right now we have Mr. Bieber.
Hey, it's really good to be here.
It's great to meet you.
Nice to meet you too.
So Mr. Bieber, what questions do you have for Nicola?
Well, I'm a new teacher. I just got my BED, so I pretty much know everything about teaching. And what I found that I already knew, but I read your book anyways, was rewards. I think they're great in the classroom. I had a professor named Shonda Wood. She didn't really agree, but you know, whatever.
So Mr. Bieber, what are your experiences with rewards in the classroom?
Well, my rewards theory is basically that it will make people do things that they otherwise don't want to do. Like learning, for instance. Or, I don't know, behaving. Or really anything positive that they don't want to do. So, it's just a rather helpful tool in the classroom. Mind you, my only experience is on my practicum for 2 months, but I find rewards to be a very helpful tool.
Okay, that's very insightful. And Nicola, what is your response to that?
I think it's wonderful that he's implementing rewards in the classroom. It is an effective behavior management strategy that I talk a lot about in the book. Some suggestions for new teachers or experienced teachers is to keep rewards small and frequent. And some examples of rewards are social rewards like verbal praise or activity awards. And it's just good for positive reinforcement.
Oh, Nicola, on that subject, actually, what do you think about the DARE program's use of Big Macs for rewards? Like, that was a really successful program, was it not? Like,
It was. Yeah.
right, like a lot of kids just did not do drugs after going through that program.
Right.
So, Big Macs must be a really good reward to have.
So what do you think about that? In this segment, Mr. Bieber. We'll hear back from you a bit later, but right now we're going to put another teacher in the hot seat, and she's a new teacher. And welcome back to The Stew, and now introducing Mrs. Timberlake.
Hi, nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you. All right, so we just heard from Mr. Bieber on rewards and how he thinks that they are extremely relevant in the school system nowadays. What are your thoughts on this?
I completely disagree, and I've heard about this Mr. Bieber fella.
Okay.
And he's a new teacher, isn't he?
He's a brand new teacher.
Like myself?
Like yourself.
But he's not as experienced, is he?
He just had 2 months of his practice.
I was saying to you about rewards. If you have rewards, it makes those students are not naturally motivated. When they're naturally motivated, they have optimal challenge levels. They're doing things because they actually want to. People are motivated with rewards, and it's not intrinsic sometimes. It makes it so that they're not retaining the information, and they're too focused on getting the reward. So giving rewards, it's better to do that after the task. Then it's kind of like a random act of kindness, and the student feels good because you recognize what they did. Even just a pat on the back or a smile, things like that, they have worked well for me. And to talk it out and go in for a walk is really good with the students, because then they feel like they're not looking at you face to face like we are right now, which, you know, I mean, it's kind of awkward, but we're doing our best. And then it's positive alternatives like walking, smile, feedback, all that kind of stuff. It's worked for me, and that's why I think I'm a successful teacher and that Mr. Bieber isn't. So I would like to challenge him if he could come out here and we could talk about this, because I think it's a debate worthwhile having.
Okay, and next we're going to have Mr. Bieber come back and have a debate with Miss Timberlake about rewards in the classroom.
Well, I both think you have valuable points. You have some strong opinions about not using rewards.
So I don't really see what the problem is with rewards. I hear that you don't use rewards the same way I do?
Nope, I want my students to be intrinsically motivated. I can see where your students are motivated just for the rewards, and I can bet you they haven't learned a damn thing.
Well, excuse me, Miss Timberlake, but rewards get the job done. My students will all strive for that sticker that says boo at Halloween time.
So all you're doing is covering the curriculum? Are they learning? Do you even know that? Do you have any measures of that?
Yes,
And what is that?
my grading book
And how do you do that?
on Microsoft Excel workbook, actually.
Yeah, but how do you know that they're actually learning? Grades don't indicate that.
Well, let's see what Nicola has to say about all this.
Sure. How long have you had this grading book? I hear you haven't been teaching for long. I'm just wondering if you can explain to Mr. Bieber and I the hierarchical triangle from the thing that's most important on the bottom to the thing that's most important on the top.
Okay, well, thank you for bringing that up. I speak about that in the introduction of the book. The 10 R's are structured in the form of a pyramid, and forming the base is relationships. It's the most important strategy. And although we talked a lot about rewards, it's not a strategy in and of itself. It builds on relationships, routines, rules. I also mentioned reprimands, and at the tip is results. So it's really not about results. It's all about the relationships, the rules and the routines that you establish in your class. And if you do all of those together, you will have an effective classroom with well-behaved students.
Okay. All right, I think we've talked enough about rewards. It's obvious that Mr. Bieber and I disagree, but I think that we can come together eventually. Hopefully, we're not still working at the same school, but it is what it is if we are, so we'll see. Well, thank you. I appreciate your input, and I'm sure that the talk show host is glad that we had you on here today.
All right. So thank you for tuning in to the Stew this evening, and I'd just like to give a big thanks to our guests, Mr. Bieber, Mrs. Timberlake, and most of all, Miss Nicola S. Morgan.
Thank you for having me. Thank you.
And we'll see you again next time on The Stew.